That was astonishing.
I am maybe the fastest strongman in the world, but I think Bill is the strongest on his feet.
Some men are remembered for winning titles. Others are remembered for changing the sport itself. Bill Kazmaier belongs to a very rare category.
You made a big mistake, Webster!
A man so dominant, so overwhelming, that people still debate whether he was the strongest human being who ever lived. Not just of his era, not just among his competitors, but across all of strength history. His name still carries a sense of disbelief, legend, and controversy, because Bill Kazmaier was not simply defeated. He was removed. Before the fame, before the trophies, before the myths, Bill Kazmaier came from rock bottom. There was nothing glamorous about his beginnings. He was not born into a family of elite athletes or raised with access to world-class training facilities. He grew up in rural Wisconsin, far removed from the bright lights of international competition. Life was simple, hard, and physical. Work meant effort, discipline, and endurance. Strength was not something to show off. It was something you needed to survive. As a young man, Kazmaier struggled with direction. Like many future champions, he didn't begin his journey as a prodigy destined for greatness. He was searching for purpose, identity, and a way to stand out in a world that did not offer easy opportunities. What he did have, however, was an unusual physical potential. His frame was thick, his limbs powerful, and his mindset stubbornly relentless. When he discovered strength training, something clicked. The iron didn't intimidate him. It spoke to him. Kazmaier threw himself into training with an intensity that bordered on obsession. He trained harder than those around him, longer than recommended, and heavier than most thought was possible. This was not scientific, carefully programmed lifting. This was raw, brutal work. Squats, presses, pulls, over and over again. Pain was not a warning sign. It was confirmation that he was moving forward. While others trained to improve, Kazmaier trained to dominate. His progress was impossible to ignore. In powerlifting competitions, he quickly established himself as an outlier. His lifts were not just wins, they were statements. He shattered records and made seasoned competitors look ordinary. His bench press, in particular, became legendary. At a time when the sport was far less advanced than today, Kazmaier pushed weights that seemed unreal. His numbers didn't just edge past records, they demolished them. But powerlifting was only the beginning. When Bill Kazmaier entered the world of strongman competition, everything changed. Strongman was still evolving as a sport, and Kazmaier arrived like a force of nature. Unlike some athletes who relied on speed or technique, Kazmaier embodied brute strength. Events that crushed other competitors barely slowed him down. From 1980 to 1982, Bill Kazmaier was untouchable. These were the years when he was, without question, the strongest man on Earth. He won the World's Strongest Man title 3 consecutive times, a feat that was unprecedented at the time. More importantly, he did it with such dominance that suspense disappeared from the competition. Viewers weren't asking who would win. They were asking how much Kazmaier would win by. The year 1981 is often cited as the peak of his power. During this time, Kazmaier displayed a combination of size, strength, and confidence that bordered on intimidating. He didn't just beat other strongmen, he overwhelmed them mentally. Competitors knew that if Kazmaier was present, second place was the realistic goal. His static strength was unmatched, his overhead power terrifying, and his grip strength nearly unbreakable. But dominance comes at a cost. As Kazmaier grew stronger, the sport around him struggled to keep up. Strongman competitions are entertainment as much as sport, and organizers rely on drama, uncertainty, and rivalries. Bill Kazmaier removed all of that. He was not controversial because of his personality or behavior. He was controversial because he was too good. The official story surrounding his ban has been debated for decades. There was never a single press release saying he was banned for being too strong. Instead, the reasons were wrapped in vague explanations involving contracts, disputes with organizers, and disagreements over participation terms. But insiders, fellow athletes, and fans all understood the underlying reality. Kazmaier's presence made competitions predictable. Predictability is bad for television. After winning 3 consecutive World's Strongest Man titles, Kazmaier was no longer invited back. The reigning champion, still in his prime, was suddenly absent. No loss, no decline, no injury forcing retirement. He was simply gone. This moment cemented Bill Kazmaier's legend. Being undefeated is impressive. Being removed while undefeated is something else entirely. It created a myth that still fuels debates today. Could he have won more titles? Almost certainly. Could anyone have stopped him during that era? Very few believe so. His ban transformed him from champion to symbol. After strongman, Kazmaier transitioned into bodybuilding, professional wrestling, and entertainment. While his physique was impressive, bodybuilding was never truly his domain. He lacked the aesthetic symmetry demanded by the sport, but his mass and density remained remarkable. He carried muscle that looked functional, heavy, and intimidating rather than sculpted for beauty. His reputation followed him wherever he went. In professional wrestling, Kazmaier found a new audience. Wrestling allowed him to channel his larger-than-life presence into a performance. He wasn't required to prove his strength through records anymore. His reputation did the work for him. Fans believed in his power because it was already legendary. Unlike many wrestlers who played characters, Kazmaier simply amplified who he already was. As the years passed, Bill Kazmaier stepped further away from competition, but never from strength culture. He became a mentor, commentator, and motivational speaker. He spoke openly about discipline, mental toughness, and resilience. His story was no longer just about lifting heavy weights. It was about standing your ground when the world tries to move you aside. Life after bodybuilding and competition brought reflection. Kazmaier acknowledged the physical toll his career had taken, but he never expressed regret. He had pushed the human body to its limits during a time when sports science lagged far behind ambition. He had paid the price, but he had also left a legacy that few could rival. Today, Bill Kazmaier is remembered not just as a champion, but as a benchmark. When new strongmen emerge and fans debate who is the greatest of all time, his name is always mentioned, often first, often last. Records may fall, events may change, athletes may grow larger and faster, but dominance on Kazmaier's level remains rare. The story of Bill Kazmaier is not simply about strength. It is about what happens when someone becomes too exceptional for the system designed to contain them. It is about rising from nothing, reaching the absolute peak, and being forced out not by defeat, but by excellence. In a sport built to test limits, Bill Kazmaier didn't just reach the limit, he broke it. And that is why, decades later, people still ask the same question. Was Bill Kazmaier the strongest man who ever lived? There may never be a definitive answer, but one thing is certain. No one was ever removed from the sport for being unbeatable the way he was. Did you like this video? Then don't forget to like and subscribe, or you'll stay skinny forever.